Welcome back to the channel and welcome to Loftus Versfeld, where the Springbok team are just having their captain's run. Players warming up right down there. Oops. Oh yeah, you're right. This place is awesome. You just feel it. You know how like the newer stadiums are all lovely, but this one you can just feel the history in the bones. It's very, very special. And that kid is going to be very, very special. Sasha Feinberg Ngomazulu. What a player, what a talent. Absolute honour to be here. Thank you very much for watching the channel. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Give the video a thumbs up. I will be here tomorrow for the match. And I cannot wait. Just check this place out. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Some of the things I want to see is what influence Tony Brown has on the way the Boks play. I think they showed a little bit of the change in their attacking intent in that game against Wales, but it was against Wales, so I mean, really, what could you tell? Whereas this, it's going to be another test altogether. And also Jerry Flannery. Don't forget Jerry Flannery in this one. He's supreme with Harlequins. He's been absolutely supreme as a scrum and a maul guy. So could the Boks scrum and maul get even better? If so, that's a pretty frightening prospect for Ireland, isn't it? Just incidentally, one thing I've had a lot of people asking on the channel is who's wearing what kit. And as I understand it, the third kit that South Africa wore, that it was hastily made as well for the Ireland match, because their change kit with the pattern on it was still deemed too close to Ireland's kit. So that third kit that was just Jesse Creel, muscle tone of a chimp, incredible, incredible specimen. The third kit that was hastily made for that Ireland match is what South Africa will be wearing, I understand it, here at Loftus Versfeld tomorrow. I don't know what the convention is. I think in football they always have the away team changes strip, but maybe rugby's the home team. Anyway, I just mentioned Jerry Flannery, and that brings me to an interesting little thing that I want to talk about on this video today, which is the shared history between not just the two teams, but the two nations. And I don't think it should be any surprise that Rassie Erasmus, when losing some players from his coaching staff, some moved on, Felix Jones being one, an Irishman from his Munster days. He's gone for another one in Jerry Flannery. And I just think this would be a perfect moment just to highlight the shared history between these two teams and nations as well, because these are two nations which have dividing lines drawn on, well, down lines that have in the history of the countries completely splintered the population into two. And rugby has been a uniting force that's done so much good. And I mean, the invasion of Ireland by the English was a crucial moment in their history. It carved up Ireland into 32 counties. Henry VIII had that new religion, which then, carved a dividing line between Protestants and Catholics, which has had huge impacts on the nation of Ireland, not least partitioning the country, but also just separating communities. Just noticed, Bakkies Borta. This is his patch. This is his house. Of course, he's here. Anyway, and then similarly, South Africa colonised by the British and the Dutch, to be fair, and that led to bloodshed. It led to suffering, and again, ultimately, a divided nation. And rather than across religious lines, it was along racial lines. The role of rugby in the stories of these two countries is absolutely massive in terms of peace, in terms of unity. In Ireland, rugby was a place that bridged between Catholics and Protestants. The boys that would graduate from Catholic schools would go and join Protestant clubs like Cork Constitution. And that was one place where that melting pot occurred in Ireland. That didn't really happen in other places and in other ways, and that was a massively powerful force for good in Ireland. And we've seen in recent years the power of rugby in South Africa, the symbol of what this Springbok team now means compared to its history. And I just think that's something that when you look at these two nations, it's worth pointing out and it's worth celebrating. The greatest British and Irish Lions tours have featured Irishmen playing a really prominent role on South African soil. Tommy Crean, back in the late 1800s, the only Catholic player in the Irish national rugby team. He led the British and Irish Lions on a series win here and loved it so much that he actually settled in Johannesburg, just up the road, rather than returning home. 78 years later, there was Willie John McBride, legendary figure in rugby, not even Irish rugby, and part of the greatest ever Lions team. And then there's characters like Paddy Mayne, who founder member of the SAS, champion boxer, Irish international, Lions tourist in South Africa, where he freed a convict who was working on building the Ellis Park Stadium, and that convict was apparently found with his much too large British and Irish Lions blazer. And he also snuck out of a formal dinner to go antelope hunting. So Irishmen have had amazing moments in the rugby history of matches against the Springboks. Also, did you know Nelson Mandela was a key man in brokering the Belfast Agreement to try and bring some peace and unity in Ireland? And he used rugby as a tool for diplomacy here in South Africa as well. Munster, the best, have a mantra. I'm absolutely certain when I look at Rassie Erasmus and what he's managed to do with this Springbok team, I'm absolutely certain beyond any doubt that his time at Munster has played a massive role in that. Munster have this little mission statement where they say we want to be the best club in the world, and we do that we rise by lifting each other. They say respect is everything, we always beats I, decency is currency, and we can and we will. And that's a mantra that helped Munster rise. And people I've spoken to in the last week or so in South Africa say that time for Rassie Erasmus in Ireland was massively influential, and he was a changed man after he came back. And I think those values that were kind of Munster values is not too dissimilar from the kind of culture that Rassie Erasmus has adopted here in Ireland, where he has turned them into, in South Africa, sorry, where he has turned the Boks into the best rugby team full stop in the world, the best nation in the world. So two nations that unite under one new anthem that was made for them, two teams playing under a symbol on their jersey, which now represents, and they're one of the only countries where, like South Africa, the only national team that don't wear the Proteus, they keep the Springbok, and again, that was something Nelson Mandela was really keen on. And the Ireland play under the Shamrock as well. And these are all things I learnt, by the way, all things that I learnt by going to a presentation talk by Michael Charlton. It's called Play Your Irish, and he just looks at the history of the two countries, weaves rugby into it, does it beautifully. And if you are Irish, or South African for that matter, or anyone, he's got a performance of his presentation, his talk, Play Your Irish, in Durban at the Mount Edgecombe the night before the second test match between the two countries. They're going to be absolutely fierce rivals, make no mistake, this time tomorrow. They're going to be gunning for each other, going for it. But there's a lot of similarities between the two countries, and there's a lot that they share. And rugby has been at the heart of that. And it's a special sport, and this is going to be a special couple of games. If you enjoy the content on the channel, I would love it if you'd hit thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm just going to go and watch the Boks warm up a little bit more.
Timmy!